Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Fire Red with only Teddy Ursa was a pretty brutal solo run by the end. Let's follow that up with a team run. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Platinum with a team of only Fire-type Pokemon. So Gen 4 is an interesting gen when it comes to Fire types because there's almost none of them before the post-game. Pearl and Diamond were actually worse about this, so we're in Platinum to give us a little bit more variety. Before the post-game, there are 5 evolution lines of Pokemon that we can get our hands on, so not enough for a full team, and with very little type variety. But that's part of what makes this interesting. I could see fights near the end of the game being really brutal. Like, how are we even going to beat Cynthia's Garchomp? Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through the challenge, so all this is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I figure that I can win, but I'm gonna need to be shockingly close to max level considering I have a full team of evolved Pokemon. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Fire-type Pokemon. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. No need to randomize our starter this time since we're just going with Chimchar, although I did use the randomizer to enable impossible evolutions, since Magmar normally needs to be traded to evolve. I like Chimchar, so I'm happy with the starter. I know people complain that there's a lot of fire and fighting starters, and I do agree, but I still like this one. So while I do some early travel, I want to go over why this gets requested so much. I think it's because there's a running joke from back in the day about how there are almost no fire types in Gen 4. Platinum adds a few more, with plenty in the post-game, but in Diamond and Pearl, it was kind of crazy how few there were. Just counting the game before you get into the Hall of Fame, as far as I can tell, there's only 2, Chimchar and Ponyta. I hunted through Bulbapedia to figure out if there were any others, but it seems like the only other ones were in post-game. Platinum added Magmar in the Ironworks, Houndour's south of Veilstone, and they made it so you could get Eevee before the Hall of Fame, so you can evolve that into a Flareon. Isn't that crazy? I always thought of fire as a somewhat common type, but when I was researching for this on Bulbapedia, I realized there really aren't a ton of fire-type Pokemon in these older games. So Arrival goes probably as perfectly as it could. Starly was just a 2-shot with Ember, and although Piplup resisted us, we burn him on the first Ember, and he just uses Growl literally the entire fight, so we just chipped him down until he fainted. Now I'm gonna have to go get to level 14 and evolve before the Rock Gym for sure. We may be weak to Rock, but once we're part fighting type, we'll be neutral, and Mach Punch will be super effective against them, so I figure that might get us a win. It's hard to say though, just because they're still pretty tanky, and Cranidos hits really hard. Rock Gym time. I got there at level 16, and first is Geodude, who was no problem at all with Mach Punch. Second was Onix though, and it being super tanky was causing issues. Rock Throw wasn't exactly doing a ton to us, but taking hit after hit thanks to him being tanky and using a potion to hang on was whittling us down a lot more than I expected. I went down, but last was Cranidos, who hardly held on from a Mach Punch, nearly took us out with a Headbutt, then went down to another Mach Punch. I really thought Headbutt was gonna make us faint there. Alright, we're on the road now, and we've got 3 boss fights between us and the first Pokemon that we get to catch. There's Commander Mars, the Grass Gym, and Commander Jupiter. I don't think any of them will be too horrible, although Mars could be a problem if we get hit by Toxic. Jupiter could be kind of annoying too, although I really don't think it'll be the end of the world, since they have dark types and we have fighting moves. The Grass Gym should be pretty easy though, especially if they use Sunny Day like they often do. That'll just make it even easier for us. Let's just try and breeze through those fights so that we can catch something new. Alright, so Zubat ended up being easy at the Mars fight because it just used Bite instead of Toxic, but Purugly actually hit us pretty hard. We won of course, but we nearly ran out of health in the process. Maybe things are going to be a bit harder than I expected once we get to Jupiter. We have the Grass Gym first though. I figure that'll be pretty easy. I'm sure it won't shock you to see that we didn't take any damage in the Grass Gym. It was pretty easy with Flame Wheel. We've got Jupiter coming up though, and if any one of these pre-Ghost Gym fights are going to stall me out, it could be that one. So first up is Zubat, who survives with a Sliver and hits us with a Wing attack, so we lost a good third of our health taking it down, and second is Skuntank. Right away, Mach Punch didn't do much, and we got poisoned. Really not a good start. I switched to using Flame Wheel instead, but it wasn't looking good. This fight was extremely close back and forth, and she was using Night Slash, so I was kind of worried about crits. In the end, we won, but we only had 5 health left. It was way too close for comfort. With that done, we can get our hands on Ponyta, the first Pokemon that we can catch in the wild. It's a really solid Pokemon, and I love Rapidash, although it's not instantly amazing. I'm gonna have to start leveling it up pretty fast though, because I think that it'll be vital to winning the Ghost Gym. Ours is Careful, so less special attack and more special defense. That should be pretty good, we're not much of a special attacker anyway. So we kind of get our next Pokemon right after, although we're not allowed to use it yet. In Heart Home, we're given an Eevee, and although it's great, it's not Fire type, and we don't get our hands on a Firestone until after the upcoming gym and rival battles, so we have to do those first. Our Eevee is Impish, so less special attack, more defense. That could be pretty good. We're not using our special attack anyway, and more defense will make us slightly less weak against ground moves, so this could save us near the end of the run. I'm really not sure how those upcoming fights are gonna go though. I'm pretty sure that Will-O-Wisp can't burn fire types in this game, although I guess I could be wrong, so I'm just really hoping that we can overpower them. I'm pretty sure they have psychic moves too, so we might have to rely more on Ponyta. It could be a hard fight. The rival after might be a problem too. I'm a little bit worried. First try at the Ghost Gym starts great with Duskull just using Future Sight, so we take it out without getting hurt. Haunter right after is pretty easy too, although we take some damage in between the Future Sight and Shadow Claw. Last is Mismagius though, so I sent in Ponyta, and I'm able to hit one Flame Wheel before going down. Monferno then burns her really early as we trade shots, but she confuses us with Confuse Ray early, and because of us hitting ourselves, she manages to survive with just a sliver of health left. Oh, that was really close. I bet I could win this in a few tries though. Okay, literally the next try, and I thought we were doomed because we hit ourselves the instant we got confused, and we didn't burn her this time, but somehow, we landed with 1 health off an attack and then took her out. There must have been a wild damage range on our attacks in this fight. Let's go take out the rival and then get some new Pokemon. Okay, so first is Staravia, who uses Double Team on the first turn, as we took him to half health. We hit him again to take him to a sliver, and I was worried he'd use Endeavor, but he used Wing Attack instead. Because of that, we only took a bit of damage before taking him down. Second is Prinpulp, so I sent in Ponyta. The first stomp didn't do too much, and we nearly fainted to Bubble Beam, but then we flinched him 3 whole turns in a row with Stomp after. We eventually went down, but we could easily just Mach Punch to finish him off. That was amazing. Second from last is his own Ponyta, who goes down in 2 hits and misses his tackle, and last is Rosalia, who is just a one-shot with Flame Wheel. What an awesome fight. Alright, now we've got the fighting gym coming up, but we get 2 new Pokemon first. I went ahead and got myself a Firestone from the ruins with all the unknown in it to evolve our Eevee into a Flareon. I love this Pokemon, although it's not exactly amazing in this game. Yeah, its stats are super high, but it's more of a physical attacker than a special attacker. But the strongest physical fire move we can get is only 65 power, so it's not exactly perfect. Still, it's a good Pokemon. Then I went south of Veilstone to catch myself a Houndour. I love this one too. It's pretty frail, but it becomes a super heavy hitter with special moves later on. I doubt either one of these are going to be too amazing in the upcoming fighting gym, but we'll see what happens. Time for the fighting gym. First is Meditite, who ends up going down really fast thanks to getting burned pretty much instantly with Flame Wheel, but we lost some speed to Rock Tomb. Lucario is next, and I didn't want to be slower, so I switched to Houndoom to sacrifice it so that I could send Infernape back in to hit close combat for the one-shot. Last was Machoke, but it was also just a one-shot with close combat. It's a pretty easy win. Alright, it's time for things to get a lot harder. Yeah, we have some really solid evolved Pokemon now, but we're coming up on the first really hard part of the run. We have a probably easy rival fight, and then a probably very hard water gym. Let's not waste any time and just get into it. So the rival fight opens with Staravia, and thanks to Intimidate, close combat left him with a sliver of health. If he had used Endeavor, then that would have been really bad, but he just used Double Team, so we took him out just fine right after. Next is Prinpulp, so I had our Flareon spam Quick Attack, and we nearly took it out. I thought I'd just soften it up a little bit, not take it that close to fainting. We actually finished it off easily once we switched back to Infernape. Next is Ponyta, who we just took out in a couple of Mach Punches. We lost attack to Growl, but our second one crit, so it went down easy, and last is Rosalia, so of course we're just gonna one-shot it with Flame Wheel. That went great. I figure we're doomed in that water gym, though. We could learn Rock Tomb for the Water Onyx, although I doubt it'll work very well. And we could learn Solar Beam for Quagsire, although it probably won't go great either since they'll hit us first. And there's nothing we can learn for Floatzel. I think close combat is probably how I'm gonna do most of the fight, just because it does the most damage. So I start the water gym by sacrificing Houndoom so that Intimidate doesn't hit Infernape, but it really doesn't pay off. Even with 2 Rock Tombs, we can't take it out. We can throw our whole team at Water Onix, but he just ends up using a Hyper Potion. You know what's bad when we can't even take down a single member of his team? We're gonna have to grind. Okay, so after way too much grinding and a rainy route followed by me missing Water Onix with Rock Tomb a few times, we got this try where we simply hit it twice with Rock Tomb to make it faint. We lost a lot of health, but Water Onix is finally down. Quagsire is second, so we just one-shot it with a close combat thanks to a crit. Although, I'm not sure the crit was required, to be honest. Last is Floatzel, so I went and played it safe, and sent in Flareon to hit Sand Attack and Quick Attack before fainting. Then I sent Infernape back in to take it out with close combat. It wasn't an easy fight, but it wasn't too hard either. As much as it kinda sucks to have to grind up a few levels on the whole team around here, it was only a few levels each. It could have been worse. Now we have a ton of fighting coming up. Cyrus, our rival, and a Steel Gym are the big ones, although we get one new Pokemon after that Cyrus fight. I'm not sure how the Steel Gym will go, since we're strong against Steel, but not against their Rock and Ground types. The first Cyrus fight tends to be easy, but we also have a rival fight, and that one tends to be harder. Hey, at least we'll be neutral against Empoleon. Still, he has water moves, so it could be a hard time. I'm not really sure. Let's just hope that having a full team will get us a few wins in these upcoming fights. So first is the Cyrus fight, and although Sneasel at the start goes down instantly to a Mach Punch, things go way downhill when Golbat comes out and keeps poisoning our whole team with Poison Fang. Most of our moves aren't really that good either, so I ended up throwing almost the entire team at it to try and do any damage, just to end up with a bunch of poisoned and fainted Pokemon. Infernape took it out, but then Murkrow easily took out the rest of our team. We nearly made it faint, but he has Hyper Potions, so it just didn't work. Well, fighting moves are neutral to Murkrow. I'm gonna keep trying. I think I need to catch it with close combat next time. Okay, so I tried again, and this time Golbat ended up going much better thanks to a burn and better poison luck, and one Fire Wheel in close combat took out the Murkrow right after just fine. I mean, I'm happy I didn't have to grind, but now it's really obvious that we're gonna have serious issues with Cyrus later in the run. Hey, at least it's time to catch our last Pokemon. Right away, I went to the Fuego Ironwork to catch Magmar. Now this thing is a beast. Ours is Calm too, that's extra special attack. Not only is it a great special attacker, but it'll evolve into an even better one, and it can learn Thunderbolt after evolving, so it's gonna give us some great coverage. Cyrus loves his flying types, so I think this is gonna be what saves us on later on in the Cyrus fights. Assuming that it's evolved by then. I'm not really sure what level it evolves into Magmortar at, since that's normally a trait evolution, but I figure it won't be for a while since Magby doesn't become Magmar until level 30 anyway. I'll try and get some levels on it, then I'll get to the rival fight. First at the rival fight is Staraptor, so I sacrificed Magmar, who got one-shot by Takedown, so that I could send in Infernape and take him down with close combat. Second is Empoleon though, so I had to send in and sacrifice Ponyta to get my defense back, just in case. We fainted fast, and I sent Infernape back in to take him down with close combat. Heracross is next, so I stayed in and hit Flame Wheel for big damage, although he did a ton to us with Aerial Ace due to our lowered defense. We took him out though. Second from last is Rapidash, so I sent in Flareon to use Fire Spin and Quick Attack. I didn't think we'd win the exchange, but we actually did, eventually making him faint. Last is Roserade, so I just had Infernape one-shot it with Flame Wheel. Steel Gym time. First is Magneton, who's just a one-shot with close combat, but that lowers our defense, so I switched to Magmar as Steelix came out. We crit a Fire Punch right away for solid damage, but went down to a single Earthquake, so I sent Infernape back in right away to hit close combat to finish him off. Last is Bastiodon, so I played it safe and sent in Flareon to use Sand Attack and lower its accuracy. We went down fast to a Stone Edge after 2 Sand Attacks, so I sent Ponyta in to try and soften him up until we faint, with the idea that we'd send in Infernape after. But he ended up missing so many Stone Edges that he ran out and couldn't take out Ponyta, even with him using a full restore. That was not at all how I thought that would go. Alright, we're getting into the part of the game where I think it's gonna really quickly get brutal. The Ice Gym and 2 Cyrus fights, followed by the Electric Gym. Now, the Ice Gym might not be hard because of us having the type advantage, although it tends to be hard in general between the non-stop hail and the Frostlass having Snow Cloak to have built-in dodge chance during the hail, plus Blizzard. On top of that, our team is really falling behind in levels compared to major trainers, so that could be a problem. But then it's 2 Cyrus fights, and the second one is probably going to be one we get stuck on for quite a while. I can get Rock Slide on my way up the mountain, but that alone probably won't save us. It's not a huge deal, but it's kind of annoying that I'll have to waste my time with it and probably get a loss in the process. I'm just hoping that our Magmar will evolve by then and we can teach it Thunderbolt, because I know that's going to help a lot. First is the Ice Gym, and it starts great with us critting a Mach Punch to one-shot Sneasel. I doubt it was dangerous, but it's still nice. Second is Piloswine, so I go for close combat to one-shot it. Now luckily enough, next is Frostlass, so I sent in Flareon to use a single sand attack and then spam Fire Fang. I'm happy she was sent in now and not after Abomasnow, or there would be non-stop hail making her Blizzard perfectly accurate. Now we did end up missing a ton of Fire Fangs because of her spamming Double Team, but we eventually ended up hanging on with a Sliver to take her out. Last is Abomasnow, but it's double weak to fire, so we easily Fire Wheel it down with Infernape. That went perfectly. Next is Cyrus. Right away, Sneasel uses Screech, we hit Fire Punch, then we get taken out in one slash. In fairness, he has a massive level lead. We take him out right away with Mach Punch. Out to his super dangerous Crobat, and right away Flareon gets confused and hits itself. Poison Fang hits us hard, Fire Fang hits him hard, we survive another Poison Fang and bring him to a Sliver, but he full restores, so we just hit 2 quick attacks before we went down and had to send in Houndoom to try and do more damage. He actually missed 3 Supersonics in a row, so we got to land quite a few hits, but then we finally got confused and hit ourselves twice while he was using Poison Fang, so we had to send in Ponyta to actually finish it off. Last is his Haunch Crow, so I had Ponyta stay in to whittle it down a little bit before we fainted, so that Infernape could finish it off with close combat. If the fight was this close, then how badly are we going to do in the Distortion World fight? So the double battle on the top of the mountain wasn't too bad, although I thought it was funny that our rival quickly lost some Pokemon and switched to Rapidash, matching the whole fire types only thing we've got going on. Actually, it was really nice having fire type since it meant that the Bronzers at the start were much quicker to take out and they couldn't just use Reflect and Light Screen to grind the fight to a halt like they usually do. So the Cyrus fight starts with us one-shotting his Houndoom with close combat, of course, and second is Water Onix, so I stay in to take Intimidate, switch to Houndoom to sacrifice him to an Earthquake, and send Infernape back in to spam Rock Slide. It actually works great. We flinched him twice, so he has to use a full restore, then on his only opening he used Giga Impact instead of a water move, so although we took a big hit, we took him out. Problem is, after that is Crobat, and he one by one takes out our whole team pretty easily. Flareon did great damage, but outside of that, we were just getting swept because he's so fast and strong. You know what? We have rare candies, and there's no reason to have to redo the entire Distortion World. We're a way lower level than them. I'm gonna start by getting the team up to level 40. That's still below their level, and maybe we'll stand a chance. So with the team leveled up a little bit, we still have to throw tons of them at Crobat to do any real damage. He came super close to fainting, and had to heal back up at one point, but through throwing enough of them at it, we finally made him faint. After that was Haunch Crow though, and although we hit hard, he can one-shot our Infernape with Drill Peck. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring the level 40s up to 45, and top up Infernape at level 50, just in case. I really do think I can win this soon. Okay, this time when we get to Crobat, we burned it right away with a Fire Fang from Flareon. We still got crit and poisoned with Cross Poison, but it actually fainted extremely early thanks to the burn damage. That left us with most of our team as Honchcrow came out. I sent in Magmar to hit Flamethrower for great damage, got one shot by a Drill Peck, but it burned him in the process so we could easily finish him off with Rapidash. Weavile outsped us and hit Night Slash for huge damage, and we missed a Fire Blast, so we ended up fainting without landing a hit. I had to send in our poisoned Flareon, but it got outsped and finished off too. I don't like how this is going. I sent in our last Pokemon, Infernape, and we were still slower, but Ice Punch hardly hurts us, and of course we one-shot him with close combat. I was getting worried for a minute there. I guess even if we froze, it wouldn't have been a big deal. We could have always just thawed ourselves with Flame Wheel if we had to. Last before Victory Road is the Electric Gym. Jolteon is first, and we can take it out with 2 Flamethrowers or Magmar, but we lost a ton of health in the process. I tried to stand and fight Electivire, but it was faster and finished us off with a Thunder Punch, so I had to send in Flareon to hit some Fire Fangs. Problem is, he was faster, so we only got 1 hit in before we fainted. I sent in Infernape to outspeed him and take him out with close combat. Next is Raichu, so I switched to Houndoom, hoping to soften him up, and although we did okay damage, we went down fast from Focus Blast and Quick Attack. Infernape was able to finish it off, but we got paralyzed off Static, so that could ruin our strategy. Last is Luxray, so I had Rapidash keep using Flame Wheel. We did a bit of damage, but he did way more. We crit our second hit, but we didn't really need to. We just had Infernape use Close Combat after Rapidash fainted. We got pretty hurt, but we weren't fully paralyzed, so we took it out. It wasn't easy, but at least it was a first try. We're nearing the end of the game, but I'm really not liking our odds of winning at this level. Our team is still a pretty low level compared to a lot of what we're going to be fighting. The last rival fight in this game is often pretty hard, and even if Aaron is easy, Bertha is going to be a brick wall for quite a while. I think I'm going to have to double check the TM move list after our rival fight, and just see if there's any major reworkings of our moveset. I got a lot of money now too, so I'll go buy some vitamins so that the newest couple members of the team can get their effort values maxed out. That way we can just rare candy up between attempts instead of having to leave and grind. I could see us having to be a super high level before we could beat Bertha, then an even higher level before we could beat Cynthia's Garchomp. Let's just try the rival fight first though and see what happens. Alright, time for the rival fight. It starts great with Staraptor being a one-shot with Thunderbolt, and second is Empoleon, who's just a one-shot with Close Combat. So is the Snorlax right after, so this is going perfectly. Next is Heracross, who goes down in one Flamethrower, and after that is his Rapidash, so I just stay in and Thunderbolt him down. He used Sunny Day and crit a Fire Blast, but we survived it thanks to resisting it, so we won that exchange. Last is his Roserade, but of course it goes down in one Flamethrower. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. Well, I'm loving our items, and I managed to get my hands on quite a few good moves. We have Grass Knot, so that might save us in the Bertha fight. Dark Pulse with Black Glasses should be super strong against Lucian. And all these King's Rocks, Razor Claws, and Razor Fangs are just awesome items. Plus a Fist Plate to get even more out of our close combat. Really, the only problem I'm seeing is that some of our team are far too low of a level, and of course we have very little answer for ground types. I'm gonna buy the TMs for Solar Beam and Sunny Day since I figure I might need them to win the Bertha fight. I think I'll give Solar Beam to Houndoom just because he has some moves I'll never end up using, like Bite. Make your final guesses on if I can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Bug Trainer Aaron. I'm sure this won't shock you, but his entire team was a sweep either than Drapion, who ended up actually being really easy thanks to Earthquake being strong, and him getting burned off of our Flame Body ability. We all knew that would be easy though, right? The real challenge is Bertha. Alright, second is Ground Trainer Bertha. I'm sure this won't shock you to your core, but we took out the Whiscash at the start with a couple of Grass Knots, then Gliscor, outsped and one-shot our entire team other than Infernape, who was faster, but still did almost no damage before fainting. Yeah, this isn't even remotely close. Most of our team is massively underleveled. I'm gonna rare candy the entire team, all the way up to level 60, then we can start making real attempts. To be honest though, I don't think we could possibly win this below level 70. Alright, back at level 60. Things start basically the same, then Gliscor sweeps our entire team other than Magmortar. Now that some of our team are faster, we can whittle him down and eventually get a knockout, but then Hippowdon just easily finishes us off with a single Earthquake. You should probably start making guesses on what level the team will need to be before I can win this. I'm gonna guess a flat 70, but you never know. Level 65. Okay, so this time I sacrifice Houndoom to use Dark Pulse for good damage, then have Magmortar finish Gliscor off with a Flamethrower. I'm just happy that we have the speed advantage finally. I stayed in as Hippowdon came out so that I could use Sunny Day to replace Sandstorm. We got one shot, but then I switched in to Infernape and one-shot it with Grass Knot. Golem was next, and it's double weak to grass, so I used Grass Knot again for a one-shot. And last is Rhyperior, who I figured wouldn't be a one-shot thanks to his ability that weakens super effective moves. But no, it was still a one-shot. Well, that went better than I expected. Third is Fire Trainer Flint. First up is his Houndoom, who we one-shot with close combat, and second was his only real threat, Infernape. I had to send in Rapidash because it's one of our only Pokemon that's faster than him, and he used Bounce for big damage. His Earthquake does tons back to us, but we can just stomp him after that to take him out. Flareon is a one-shot with Earthquake, as is Rapidash right after, and last is his Magmortar, who's also just a one-shot with Earthquake. I figured this would be an easy one. Fourth is Psychic Trainer Lucian. First is Mr. Mime, who's a one-shot with Dark Pulse, and second is Gallade, the main thing I was worried about. Right away, we have Rapidash hit Bounce for great damage. He actually misses his Stone Edge. Then we hit another Bounce to take him out. Bronzong is just a one-shot with Flamethrower, and next is Espeon, who's a one-shot with Dark Pulse. Last is Alakazam, who's faster than us and nearly one-shot us with Focus Blast, but we hung on and one-shot him with Dark Pulse. That's another easy win. How's Cynthia gonna go, though? Honestly, I could see us getting pretty stuck on Garchomp. Finally, Pokemon Champion Cynthia. First is Spiritomb, who hardly does any damage at all to Houndoom, so we easily get the 2-shot. Second is Melodic, who's pretty dangerous. I ended up going with Close Combat with Infernape to nearly one-shot it, as it was one-shotting us with Surf. I sent in Megmortar to Thunderbolt, and although she full restored, we crit for a one-shot. Problem is, next is Garchomp, who just swept our entire team with Earthquake no issue. Maybe if Bounce had hit and paralyzed him, then we could have won through insane luck, but I'm not banking on it. Let's get to level 70. Maybe one of our team will be faster by then, although I kind of doubt it. Level 70, and you're not ready for this. I had a hard time on the first couple of tries until I realized something. Houndoom is faster than Garchomp now. Well, because she starts with Spiritomb and it does almost nothing to Houndoom, I just used 3 Nasty Plots to max out our special attack, and then used it to sweep her entire team. Yes, seriously. Houndoom just went from probably the least used member of our team to the one who one-shot swept the Pokemon Champion. That was an amazing ending. Well, that was a fun one. I'm really happy I decided to do this in Platinum. Originally, I was going to do it in Diamond or Pearl, but only having Infernape and Rapidash probably would have been pretty boring. Having a nearly full team was way more interesting. I hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Black 2, with only version exclusives. There's going to be a lot more choices in what our team will look like in that one, so I'm excited. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. Oh man, it's finally starting to warm up a little bit over here. It has been so cold lately and snowing. The worst part has been it's snowing a lot, and the plows in my area just suck. Oh my god, the snowbanks are so bad, and they don't plow anywhere in front of the community mailbox. You have to like go into the middle of the road and climb a snowbank and trudge through knee-deep snow to get to the community mailbox, and then climb a snowbank again out to the road to get back to your place. Is miserable. But finally, it's warmed up a bit. I think it's gonna get cold again later, but it warmed up enough that a lot of the snow has melted. So it's mostly just like the snow banks on the side and stuff. You know, the sidewalks are actually shoveled again. The road is plowed more properly. Oh man, the plows here suck. Even on the road, they'll plow like 2/3 of the road, not the whole length of the road. So like, there's no room for cars to pass each other. It's a nightmare. Oh man. Okay, so it's a little better now, finally. And of course, the sun is up for a little bit longer in the day. I'm getting a little bit more energy, which is nice. I've been having a little bit more free time, so I can get back to streaming some more. You know how I am with streaming, though. It comes and goes in waves of when I'm free enough for it. So it's difficult. I'm playing a lot of Civ 7 when I do just have a little bit of downtime, and although the game's got a lot of problems, that looks like they're fixing it in patches, they're talking about how they're going to fix things, like the user interface is awful, and balance is all over the place, but strategy games usually have balance issues when they come out. It is really fun, though, I gotta say. The gameplay loop is very satisfying once you learn how all the new stuff works, because, like, look, I've been playing Civ since, like, Civ 2, I love Civ. I did play Civ 1, although I didn't play Civ 1 when it was new. I love Civ games, and every Civ game has a lot of new stuff. I don't know if there's ever been one that's as big of a change as going from 6 to 7. It's very, very new with a lot of things, but I'm having a really fun time with it, so I guess that's what matters. I will probably play some on the show at some point, but I got so many other things I want to stream first. I want to continue a lot of playthroughs that I was doing a lot in like October, November, that I haven't been able to ever since I got really busy in December. So it's been a few months on those. I want to get back to, Harvest Moon and more Poke Rogue and stuff, because those are really fun. A bunch of stuff I want to get back to. And I swear that Deus Ex stuff is happening at some point. I have like 7 hours of it that is already recorded that you haven't seen yet. I just have not had time to edit it. Speaking of, I need to edit this so fast because then I gotta record a whole bunch of challenge today and tomorrow if I want to get things done on time. So, I should probably get on top of that. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.